Hello and welcome. Today we've got Lewis Herms, and today we are going to be discussing about the Arizona border that Lewis went to yesterday. He asked the people that were coming in questions, and he thinks that they're coming in for something else. And also, we're going to speak about Colorado, about Trump being removed from the ballot paper. It's very important. We need Trump back. The southern border is very important. The safety of the American lives and families, men and women, very, very important. We have to protect your country. And absolutely. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Instagram channel at Nicholas.Veniamin, where you can follow all my newsreels. Lewis, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
I'm fantastic. Been really, really busy. I decided to go to a big, huge event here called America Fest in the United States, which is in Arizona. There's a very large team that do phenomenal work in Arizona about taking back this country. So I wanted to meet with those people. And then I also wanted to go down and spend a day at the border, right where people are crossing. So I took care of all three of those things in the last week. And what a phenomenal experience all of them were.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for coming on because I know you're very tired. You've been traveling and you've been very, very busy. So I really thank you for coming on to share this with the viewers. So talk to me through what happened at the border. You know, you said you asked questions. What was the highlight of it? And why do you think they're coming in for a different reason? And what do you think that reason is?
Great question. So when we're driving along the border wall, suddenly you'll see that large sections of the border wall literally have been cut down and opened up. And if you question the border patrol, they don't want to give you any information, but there's contractors there, and you ask them, and then their excuses. Well, we're doing irrigation. Like on the Mexican side of the border, you're doing irrigation, right? Very odd responses. And then they say, oh, but it's temporary. And then you keep going down, and there's more sections cut out, and they're about approximately 16 feet of wall cut out again and again and again and again. And they're laying on the side of the road. So we have the pictures and all of that. And then we got up to one section, and the wall just disappears. Literally, it's gone. And that's gone for a long, long way. And then we go over another hill, and sure enough, then you see the camps, and you see everything you can possibly imagine. But then there's hundreds and hundreds of people sleeping right next to the border wall on the U.S. side because they've already crossed over. So we just started to ask questions, and immediately we say, "Where are you from?" And the whole group, even from 200 feet away, screams, "Guatemala, Guatemala." I don't think they were all from Guatemala. In fact, I know they weren't. But the fact that they did that tells me that they're being prompted to say that. Then we got down, and we found there were some people from Chad. There was people from Sudan. I met a guy that claimed that he was a U.S. military translator. I believe he was from Sudan or Chad, and he spoke perfect English, but decided to come over here. And that's fair. That was interesting and suspicious. But when we asked the questions, how they came over here, great example. So to get here from Chad, they must have a lot of money because they're flying a plane into Turkey. From Turkey, they're flying into Colombia, which is interesting because Colombia just announced that they're opening up all their visas to African and Middle Eastern countries. Go figure. And then they go through El Salvador, Nicaragua, and then they end up coming up Mexico and the Darien Gap, and they get into the United States via that way. That costs a lot of money. So we asked more questions, and they're paying anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 just for the cartel to let them come through the border. That's a lot of money. And if you look at the Sudanese and the country of Chad and how much their income is per year, it would take a long time to raise that type of money.
So yeah, sorry.
No, please ask.
So you're saying that they're being paid to come in the country?
I believe they're being sponsored to come in the country, which is a huge concern for sure. And in addition to that, if you look at something, and there's we went down there with Jonathan Alexander from Live Border News, and he hosted us, which was, we really appreciate him doing that. And we were talking about some things, and he has an interesting theory. So right now in the United States, there's enough fentanyl already here to kill every man and woman probably for over 100 years coming. So that means, if anybody understands business, there's no market for producing new fentanyl, right? Because the supply completely outweighs the demand. I mean, by century, it looks like. Therefore, it has to have another purpose. And the other thing, the dirty secret people don't know, is we produce more fentanyl here in America now than they do in other countries anyways, because it's so easy to produce. So why would we need that much fentanyl? Because the drug dealers and the cartel, they're businessmen. They're disgusting and they're terrorists, but they're business people. So they're not going to outweigh supply to the demand, because they're not going to make any money doing it. Therefore, the theory is that the fentanyl is going to be used to have a massive attack on the people. And that could be in the form of spray, or just, you've heard of people touching it and they have a heart attack or they get sick, and some people die from it. So we can see it being sprayed and powder laying all over the place. That's the concern with the fentanyl. That's going to be a massive terrorist attack. Now you connect that with what's going on with the border. By the way, 90% of these, Nick, are fighting age men. We only found a few ladies that were crossing the border. And the Border Patrol is very dodgy in the questions that they ask. And it seems like when we do get somebody to talk to, he's almost positioned to give us these canned answers that divert us. So it's very, very concerning of what's going down there. But it's a massive invasion, massive. We saw hundreds. We had an incident with the cartel themselves. They were bold enough to walk over the border and try to intimidate us. That's how bold they are.
Why does the deep state want to flood the country with illegal immigrants?
Well, could be a couple reasons. So if they can get them the ID that they want to get them, in the instant ID, they're trying to make that instant ID be used for voting. So there's one thing. And a lot of these immigrants are getting $5,000 gift cards when they come over. Hey, thank you for coming in the country. Here you go. Here's a 5,000 disc card. In fact, it's so blatant now, Nick. I talked to these people on the border. I said, so how long have you been here? Oh, we've been here about 3 days. I go, wait, you've been sleeping on the American side for 3 days? Yep. What are you doing? We're just waiting for Border Patrol to come pick us up, bring us to the processing center, and then take us to any city that we want to go to from there.
That they want to go to? Like they have a choice?
Well, they will go to, that's a great question. So when they go to the processing center, they will send them wherever they want to. And then from that city, I should rephrase it, they'll transfer to wherever they want to go. So they don't really care where they get sent. All they want to do is get processed. And sometimes they get a cell phone for free. They get clothes for free, so on and so forth. So, and the Red Cross, which is, as we know, controlled by the United Nations, and United Nations is dirty, is supplying everybody blankets down there. There's tons of unfolded Red Cross blankets laying right across the border.
Coming out of taxpayers' money, and they're increasing your taxes even more and more.
Well, yes and no. So the Red Cross is supposed to be a charity, but if you know how nefarious they are, you go back and they're connected to the Knights of Malta and the UN, we know, is a disgusting organization that pretend to be something else. So ultimately, yeah, we do fund the UN from our taxpayers' money, but we certainly, even worse, we the people naively support these Red Cross movements, and all they're doing is doing everything they can to bring people into the border illegally.
And this is why it's important that we need Trump, especially with what's happened in Colorado about removing Trump from the paper ballot. But my advice to people is when you should vote, on a paper ballot, draw a box, put Donald J. Trump, and tick that box and cross the other names out. That's what I think. That's what I think should happen. What's your advice? What do you think? moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't think it's going to get to that. Actually, I believe this is the one opportunity at the Supreme Court for Clarence Thomas to put his foot down and say, okay, this is enough. And that could be the catalyst to good things for us, actually. So this is sometimes these negatives turn out to be positives because they tend to backfire on the deep state. I call it Trump's golden boomerang is what I call it.
Hmm.
So they'll throw out, they'll do something disgusting, and then it'll actually hit them back in the face. This could be one of them. Even Rams way, which I call the Swami, is saying that if Trump's not on the Colorado ballot, he's going to take himself off the Colorado ballot. Now, I think he's vying for a vice presidential slot, or he's paid by the White Hats. Who knows what's going on with him because he has a checkered past. But it's all very, very interesting. And I think you see this, your viewers see this, I see this. It's all coming to a head right now. The next couple months are going to be extraordinary to watch.
At what point will the government need to act tyrannical like they have with Colorado? Big breach of the Constitution.
Mhm.
That the military is called in to make arrests if it's not happened already.
Well, the question really is it going to be the military, the sheriffs? Because there's a debate within the military whether they can even legally do that, right? Because who's the one that enacts the military? The president of the United States. Now, although Biden could be a faux Biden and he's also part of a corporation, the perception within leaders in the military is he's still the legitimate president. And the perception of other military leaders is he was elected illegitimately. So that's a battle that we hear their conversations are having within the military right now. So that's extraordinary. But you know who has the power to do it this second is the sheriffs. In fact, I had a very spirited conversation with Sheriff Mack, Sheriff Richard Mack he's the head of the CSPOA. Didn't know that it was being secretly filmed. And so I guess before it gets released, we're probably going to release it on. We're going to release it on our news today on our news program. And it's a very spirited conversation. I wasn't disrespectful, but I put my foot down that we, the people, we are going to be holding these sheriffs accountable, and we're done with it. We're done with them protecting their paychecks. We're done with their so-called hiding under the cloth of I have to take care of my family. And here's why. So here's the question I asked Mac, and I'm going to ask all these sheriffs, and we're coming after them in a good way. If they're doing great, we're going to support them. Also, we're going to raise the roof, but we're also coming after them in this way. So I asked, and I said, so would you rather secure your pension and your paycheck and take care of your family so they're going to be happy, but do that as a coward, or would you rather have the courage to risk your paycheck by standing out and doing the right thing, and your legacy will live on for generations as a hero that brought our country from its knees to standing? That's the question I'm asking them. And it's interesting the way they dodge this question. They have trouble answering it. I'm asking this of them, Border Patrol, judges, you name it. Anybody that has any power whatsoever, they are going to be held accountable. And I mean big time.
Well, yeah, because there's another motive here. There's lobbying. There's money being paid under the table. And for me, there's nothing like living with a clean conscience and knowing that we're not going to be living on this planet forever. When we die, we don't take anything with us. And the only thing we take with us is our conscience. And we want a clean conscience. That's the best thing to feel, that you've done the right thing.
Yeah.
How can you not want to do that? They're weak people. These are weak-minded people because they cannot see that. They're not true to themselves. You know, I want to speak about New Me. New Me is a thing that we've been talking about lately. It's a thing that releases glutathione in our body, and you've seen a side effect that's made your hair slightly darker. Why don't you tell the viewers about this and why you think it's very important?
Well, I can tell you with the rigorous schedule I've had over the last week. Thanks for asking. This swishing it in my mouth just for a minute, once or twice a day, whatever you'd like to do, has really kept me going. I mean, it's helped me with my workouts, and it's helped me keep my energy level up because my wife and I have been running a schedule that's astronomical. We did 20 hours yesterday, and then I had to drive 7 hours. We're part of that. Anyways, what it is glutathione is by far the most powerful antioxidant we have. In fact, I believe they call it the master antioxidant. So what happens is we need to get that into our body because it'll speak to our mitochondria and our immune system. And then God's work through the mitochondria and the immune system does everything else. It finds the challenges in your body and it targets them directly and takes care of them. It's phenomenal. And they've created it in a way that we could it's nano-sized, which means they use called a hydrostat technology to shrink down the molecule. We can swish it. It's the only product that has that technology.
Mhm.
And it's amazing. So it bypasses the gut, goes right into your system. And I don't know. I've been, as you know, it happens to you too. I've had over 100 products come across my desk. And this is just one of 3 that I will even put my name behind.
And because of that, Lewis, thank you. I've been using it as well every day, and I really, really feel great about using it. I'm going to leave the link below so that people can have access to it. They can get it now. But Lewis, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. It's been very interesting. The deep state will only, they know they're going to lose and they have to cheat. That's the only way they can win. And let's see how far they get with cheating. But Lewis, have a wonderful Christmas, and I'll speak to you very soon. You take care and God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless. Thank you.